Welcome to my developer overview for my Staffordshire University Games Engines level. So starting off, we have the cinematic, which is just showing off some of the more visually appealing parts of the level. And if we get straight into gameplay, one of the first things I do is I introduce the player with some text on the wall, which will be a recurring part of the level, as it appears a few more times throughout the rest of it. The intent of that is to provide some sort of a story-driven element to the level, as obviously it is rather plain without, and is meant to be sort of the focus of this level. While the puzzle aspects aren't too strong, it's meant to sort of have this story that follows along with it. However, there is still a bit of time to take and explore the level and do the puzzles. So the first one is to get out of this room. You must open that door there, and to do that you must use these different pads around the room, finding all the cubes and putting them on the pads. If you get the combination wrong, then it won't work. And you can tell, because obviously that will light up and the chain will continue down to the door. You use emancipation fields here to stop you from stealing the cubes up, nor taking extra cubes down there with it. So as you see, more text being reused. If we now head into the next area, we have the lava underground sort of zone. This was to give a bit more of a contrasting aesthetic compared to the original. And as well as that, it also provides one of the main threats the player has, as they can easily fall into the lava, plus they can drop their cubes in there if they're not careful. Once they cross this bridge, they do actually need to take this cube and reuse it again later, preventing them from backtracking across the level unless they want to reset their progress forwards. It's sort of a pseudo checkpoint, as it indicates that they don't need to go back that way anymore. Use some of my particle systems, such as the sparks on there, and we'll see some more later. In this room, we have sort of a storage room with some empty suits in them. These originally came as skeletal meshes, and I couldn't really make much use of them just in their standard T-pose, so I did have to learn how to do posing within Unreal, just to have them set up the way they are. And while the poses are rather simple, it conveys the point quite well. One thing I did do extra on top of the brief that we were given was to put in these spinning lights. While we're not marked on our blueprints, I found that for the 2 or 3 nodes it required to actually make them, it added a lot to the effect as they moved, instead of just being static baked lights, which looked very unappealing compared to this. So then we're in this room, which is meant to be the power control room, as indicated by some of the text and the signs outside. In this room, you've got the generator with the control panel. Once you can find power to turn it on, you can then leave through the hangar. And the main way to do that would be to sort of explore around and find it. If you can find it, there's a cube hidden somewhere in the level, and this cube enables you to turn on the power, which shows off my main piece, which is the particle system running this generator, plus turning on some of the lights around the level. This is the main thing that you've got to look for, and it makes the level a lot easier once you can see where you're going. Once you've done this, however, it is then just a case of running to the ship and ending the level. One of the main tasks or problems I had with this was finding some good assets to use at the beginning, of which I finally had to settle for the Polygon Sci-Fi Pack, which is the one I'm using here. And as well as that, the main thing when reflecting back on it that I found to be difficult or underwhelming would be the puzzle aspect of the level, because while I intended for it to be very story driven, in the end, with the lack of using things like blueprints too much and being able to have any sort of interaction with the player, besides just the basic logic puzzles, it meant I couldn't really play too much with the story, and so the puzzles felt rather insignificant compared to that. So if I were to improve it, I would be planning some slightly better puzzles in the future, but that would be key to doing that at the planning stage when I was making those paper diagrams and doing the basic block out. So that will be kept in mind for future constructs. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a good day.